Okay, so I'm going to be going over how to do the welt pocket option. I'm just going to be doing a single welt pocket on the back right side of the shorts. So I'll show you how to do one of them, and then if you want to do two, you can definitely do that as well. So for mine, you need to get the back right panel of the pants, and you should have cut it with the back yoke already attached if you're using the elasticated waistband. And then you're going to mark the two top placement marks that are on the pattern piece for the back or the patch pocket. So you have these two marks right here that I just marked with my disappearing ink pen, and then you're going to measure in 3/8 of an inch on either side towards the center and mark those points as well. And then what I like to do is to fold a line right here and then iron it across so that when I turn it over, I can see where that line is. And then I took the interfacing and interfaced around where the pocket is going to be. Okay, so after you've added the interfacing and we have the pocket placement marks already on there, you're also going to be needing the large pocket piece. And all of these measurements are in the video from yesterday. And then the smaller pocket piece and then the welt. And the welt should also be interfaced. So then you're going to take your pocket pieces and center them on these marks while marking where the edge of the pocket would be. So the original mark that you took from the pattern piece, and then you go ahead and mark those. So we marked it on all three pieces. It should be about 3/8 of an inch in from the outside of the piece, and then also on the slap or on the welt pocket piece. So you should have 4 pieces total now. Alright, now you have your welt pocket piece and the large pocket piece right sides together with the main pants piece. And you're going to sew using a 3/8 inch seam allowance from your point that you marked to the other end, to the other point that you marked, the top and the bottom, on both sides. Okay, since we're using Supplex, you might notice that there is a little bit of stretch with your non-interfaced piece of fabric. If you want to use a walking foot, you could totally use that, or if you wanted to use like maybe some thing to stabilize it a little bit, like wash away wonder tape, that would also work. I don't really worry about it too much. It hasn't seemed to create any issues for me. So now you have the welt attached and the large pocket piece attached. You are going to take the scissors and you're going to cut between the inside line or the inside point that you had marked to the other inside point that you had marked. So originally those were marked on the back pattern piece. They're 3/8 of an inch in from the other point that you had taken from the pattern piece itself. And so now we're going to cut through the main leg of the fabric down to connect those two pieces. Make sure that you're not cutting your pocket pieces and you're just cutting the fabric in right in the middle. All right, so now you should be able to open it and you can see all the way through it. Now we're going to take our pattern piece and you can flip it over and take your scissors. Make sure you've separated your welt and your main pocket piece so you won't be cutting those. You're going to take your scissors and you're going to only cut the main piece diagonally out to the end of your stitching. Both up and down. Getting right into that corner so it looks like that on both sides. And again, making sure that you're not cutting any of the pocket piece. Okay, so now it should look like this. Now we get to push the pocket pieces, the welt and the main pocket piece, through the hole that we just have made. And you're going to take the welt pocket seam allowance and open it up and then go ahead and press it all the way down along this seam. Okay, now we have ironed the seam allowance open, you see down here. You're going to take your welt piece and fold it in half, covering the seam allowance. It should be like just about raw edge to raw edge. And then take the large pocket piece and fold that down over the top of it. And now you can go ahead and flip it over to see how it matches up. You see it's starting to look like a welt. And then you can kind of adjust how your welt is sitting by pulling it up a little bit. And then you can make it perfect. It is harder to do this in a knit, I would say, than doing it in a woven. So it might take some more finagling to get it just how you want it. So after you have them lined up just how you would like, pretty much just like that, then you can go ahead and press it. Now I have flipped it over and we have the welt piece on the bottom and then the large pocket piece on the top, and then this is the wrong side of the main shorts piece. You're going to take your small pocket piece and line it up on the welt and then sew this together, just the welt and the small pocket piece, using a 3/8 inch seam allowance. We have the small pocket piece attached to the welt pocket, so now you can open it up and we can stitch this just to tack it down so that when they're being worn they're laying flat. So you should be stitching through the small pocket piece, the welt pocket piece, and then the seam allowance. Okay, so now we have the seam allowance that we ironed open, then we have the welt, then we have the small pocket piece, and then we have the large pocket piece. Now we're going to reinforce this, the seam allowances. So you're going to take your welt pocket piece, fold it back over on top of that seam allowance that we had already ironed open. Then you're going to stitch along here. So you notice that this is where we cut it earlier. So you can stitch from where we cut it earlier all the way down to the other side where we cut it earlier. Make sure that you don't stitch on this side of the small pocket piece, that you keep it in this seam allowance. Okay, now we're going to tack the sides of the welt pocket. So you will have it right side facing up, and you can finagle your pocket to be exactly how you want it to be. If you notice any puckers in the corners, that's usually because you haven't clipped your diagonal quite enough. So make sure that from the other side that you have clipped it all the way into that stitching that we had before. So now you take the front pants piece and fold it over, and you'll notice you have this triangle that you had made earlier from clipping out those corners, and that's what we're stitching over. So you're going to start here and then stitch down over the triangle and then back stitch, and then we'll do the same thing on the other side. Flip the front pants piece over, exposing the back side, and then sew down, crossing over this triangle, and then back just to reinforce it. Alright, now we're on to the last step. So you should have the pretty much completed welt on the front of your pants pocket or pants piece, and then we need to sew the small pocket to the large pocket on the back. So you can fold the side over again and then clip down the sides to attach this, or to connect the small pocket with the large pocket all the way around. And then using a 3/8 inch seam allowance, you're going to go ahead and stitch around that. You could probably also use your serger if you wanted to do that, but I'm already here and there's gray thread in here, so we might as well do it on here. So just at the 3/8 inch seam allowance, you can stitch them together. We now have a fully finished welt pocket. Now you could do another one on the other side if you want, or you can just leave it with the one. I really like these pair of ready-to-wear shorts that just have the one pocket on them, so I am just going to do the one. If you want to clean these up a little bit, you could serge around the edge or finish your edges with whatever method you prefer.